another Sunday morning Samoflange. Hey, I got guests.
A guest?
Hey!
What do you mean a guest?
You're back.
I'm back.
Hi.
Hello.
What's your name?
My name's Benjamin.
Yay! You're back.
Hey.
I have a friend.
That's my whole name. Benjamin, yay, you're back. I have a friend.
Are you in my head?
Perhaps. Perhaps.
I practice these podcasts just talking to a random, just stuffed Ewok.
It's true.
Yeah. Hey, welcome
all we
back.
have to do is look at the intro to your board game channel and we know all about the Ewok.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
How are you?
Do you do cross-contamination with your shows? Like, do the people who listen to Saturday Morning Samoflange
Yes.
know about?
Not everyone. We have different listeners for each podcast, but we
Okay.
do have people who are just they're troopers and they want to hear me talk for some reason. But they are two different podcasts in a way. This is a more of a top 5 podcast, where the other one is a sci-fi discussion one.
That's true. I was talking about but do you do the board game reviews on your sci-fi?
They'd only be on
the
here.
Princess? Oh,
Saturday morning Samoflange will be. I'll bring people in. It's almost getting to that time of year,
oh
but
boy.
I will start having people come in or call in, and we'll talk about their top 10, top 20, whatever. We do that every once in a while when my videos start playing the top 10, top 100.
Right on.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm always happy to be here.
So Benjamin wanted to let me know that we gotta stop talking about dudes
I didn't say that.
in the theater. We need to talk about actresses. True story.
I was just saying that you've only talked about
That's
men
true.
up until now.
You're exactly
There's
right.
a lot of really good actresses out there, and you mentioned it yourself on one of your other podcasts that. Well, I think it was during the one when you wanted to talk about Al Pacino or somebody else, and you ended up talking about Al Pacino the whole time. And you're like, well, I should make this about Al Pacino. And then you said something about how you haven't had any female
I should get females on here too.
actresses.
But you know what? True story. Right now at the moment, no favorite actress. Don't have one. An actress that brings you to the theater.
Right.
I haven't had that in many years. I have in the past. But currently, there's really not an actress where I go, ooh, she's in it. I got to go see it. There are actresses I enjoy. But someone who's like, ooh, I got to go see it because
I'm glad you said that in that way, because that is a draw with certain names and certain actors that you've done in the past. And that's exactly how I thought about this whenever I was considering the top 5 for this was like, is it somebody that I would see their name on the marquee and be like, oh, I'm not at all interested in this movie, but I want to see them do it.
Is this... Well, we can already say who it is.
Emma Thompson is one of the only ones for me that I can think of that I would.
It takes you to the theater. That name puts you in the theater.
Take me to the theater.
Yeah. I have certain names like that, mainly actors, the ones I did at the beginning. Ed Norton, probably going to get my interest. Jackie Chan, usually going to get my interest.
Right.
Tom Cruise, going to get me. I didn't want to see The Mummy, and The Mummy sucked, but I went and saw it anyway because Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there are certain actors who get me in the theater. There used to be. I think the last one was maybe Keira Knightley.
I was about to say.
If I remember the 2000s to 2010, it may have been Keira Knightlly.
Before that, Elizabeth Shue.
Well, if we're talking 90s. Ooh.
I just know. Hold on. Elizabeth Shue would still be.
For a very brief time, Cameron Diaz, because she was in The Mask.
Oh,
and then eventually I got over Cameron Diaz real quick because she didn't look any better than she did in The Mask. And then, who was the girl from Star Trek Troopers? For a while, Denise Richards. For a short while.
Yeah.
There's a few flashes of brilliance in that 90s era to early 2000s.
I'm drawing questions.
Sandra Bullock. Sandra Bullock in the 90s.
Okay.
Sandra Bullock in the 90s.
Are you going on looks here or
straight looks? No, Sandra Bullock's a good actress. They're good actresses too.
No, like she's an Oscar winner. Like she won for something. I forget what. But
you want to go on straight looks? What you talking about? Elizabeth Shue in the 80s? There. Are you kidding me?
I was talking about your preference.
Who didn't want Elizabeth Shue as a girlfriend in the 80s?
Nobody.
The answer is nobody.
No one who saw Karate Kid.
Nobody
ever didn't want anyone else except.
I mean, it's like me, and I thought this was an 80s commercial, and I may have said this in the past, but I just recently found out it was an early 90s Pepsi commercial that starred a young Cindy Crawford that blew me away. So, young Cindy Crawford, you don't remember that Pepsi commercial?
I don't.
She gets out, she's super hot, she drinks the Pepsi, the two boys are just looking at her, and then suddenly one boy goes, man, that Pepsi looks so good.
No.
It's great. It's a great commercial. But
wow,
anyway, But Emma Thompson, it's one of your favorite actresses, and I was able to find, I was like, man, I don't know of a single Emma Thompson movie. Then I looked her up, I was like, actually, I know of a lot of
She's
them.
pretty prolific, yeah.
So it was pretty simple for me. But when we talk about crossover, I think we're gonna have, I want to say 2. What would you say?
I'm gonna go 2 to 3, yeah.
2 to 3?
If I was forced.
I tell you what, you go 2, and now I got to go high or low. I always let my guests go first, so you would pick 2. I'm gonna go low. I'll say 1.
All right.
I think 2 is the magic number here.
One thing I've thought of, we've never established, what do we win if we...
Nothing. We're just guessing. We win nothing.
We need to add a prize.
We win nothing. People don't understand. We don't even talk about this subject until we turn on the mic.
No, that's true. We don't.
We do not.
We deliberately keep it away from
once we mention the topic, it's off limits to talk about.
Right.
Off limits to talk about. All right, so... you know what? Go ahead. Give me your number 5.
My number 5 for Emma Thompson was one of her more recent movies, actually, which was Saving Mr. Banks. Because Mary Poppins is one of my all-time favorite movies ever, as is many other people. And did you see Saving Mr. Banks?
Yes, I did.
What did you think?
It's my number 1.
Is it really? Okay, yeah. So I loved the movie, and I love Mary Poppins. I appreciate her. And I have appreciated her for years, obviously, but I saw that movie not for her, though. Like, it wasn't her that drew me to it. It was the story that it was about was what drew me to it.
Me too.
Now, I recently watched it again, and I fast-forwarded through everything with Colin Farrell, and I fast-forwarded through all of the bits about the flashbacks because I just didn't care. I'd seen it, I don't like Colin Farrell, I never have. And I didn't like none of the bits in the flashbacks were memorable to me, and so I only watched Emma Thompson and Tom Hanks and who else? There's that was so good. Paul Giamatti? No, that's not him. Who is that? Who's the driver? Maybe it is Paul, but
I don't remember.
Either way,
but
they were wonderful, and so the only reason it's my number 5. And as low as it is because she's obtuse and awful and wonderful at the same time, but she didn't have a lot of range, I guess, in this role. It's a limited role because her whole only job was to be a jerk, the whole show.
Now, and this is hard to separate her performance from the story.
That's a criticism on the writing, in my opinion. Like, that's all. But she did it brilliantly.
I think. You fast forward through her backstory, which was Colin Farrell. Which, by the way, if I was to do top 5 Colin Farrell, it'd just be one movie. It'd be Mr. Banks. I really don't like Colin Farrell.
Oh, you don't like Colin Farrell?
I like Colin Farrell, but I thought he was brilliant in Saving Mr. Banks. That's the only time I think I've ever liked him. But that backstory...
Tom Cruise are the same to me. Like Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise in every movie. Colin Farrell is Colin Farrell in every movie.
Oh, I thought he was brilliant in this movie. And plus, knowing that background and having her... That's the reason she is like she is.
Agreed.
And she's a very nasty character. Mm-hmm. But then you immediately... start to feel bad, and you understand why, and that she does a great job. I thought she did a great job.
I agree totally.
In that one, I mean, I'm just telling you why it was my number 1 because I was just really like. Emma Thompson's not a reason.
You need to go.
No.
Give us more.
I'm just saying I like the story overall, but I just thought her character was done really well. Because I mean, in real life, the character was really fickle and did have some issues. And to be honest, I was thinking, dang, Walt Disney should have thought about this. This makes a better story than Mary Poppins. But the making of Mary Poppins makes a great movie, too.
Yeah.
Makes a great movie, too. And you can understand why the characters were so dear to her.
Oh, yeah.
Why and almost in a way, Walt Disney's the enemy.
Yeah.
In some ways. He's the careless corporation. Even though, and I mean, he's running a business, but it was interesting to see it. And I just really thought, it was really good because I can understand as a writer, if someone takes your stuff and they start changing it and they really butcher it, I bet you just tell me. But if you have, emotional connections, these are personal connections, then I think you would be rude. You would be upset. You would be stern and frank and bitter and, and so everything just kind of fall into place. And I thought it was just a really good story, but I'm glad you have it on your top 5. That was one of our crossovers that we had.
It's a great great story. Don't get me wrong, and I'm really glad I watched it. And I'm just not interested in the backstory anymore. Like,
That's fine.
but I like
That's
little
the
bits.
that's the difference right there.
Yeah,
I think that's the difference right there.
it's the difference between the movie itself and the acting, and I think that's what we wanted to talk about today with the actress herself, not necessarily the movie. That's what I was doing, going on.
All right.
Because a couple of mine are fairly embarrassing. My other ones, as far as like quote unquote chick flicks or whatever. But
I have some old and new.
Your number 5 is?
My number 5 is a newer one as well.
Okay.
And I blame Megan.
Ha!
But Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
She did Mrs. Potts.
Of course.
The reason I picked this one, the reason it makes it, because I was so against this movie. Because, I mean, come on. Angela Lansbury is Mrs. Potts. Get out of here. She is.
Undeniably.
I can still hear her. But, to her credit, they brought her in because of her name.
Yeah.
But she actually did the job.
Yeah.
Too, as Mrs. Potts.
No, and
I was like,
I like her.
I said, that's an acceptable Mrs. But the thing was, no, it's Angela Lansbury for me.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, that's it's no one else.
Right. But like some people have a James Bond that will always be James Bond,
But yet you can take into credit like, okay, well, she didn't accept it, which was really good.
Sure.
Like I said, it was just a total surprise because she's just a big name they brought in to sell movie tickets, in my opinion. But she didn't just carry out the role. She actually gave her own different version of Mrs. Potts.
Yep.
And it was a good version, which I never thought I'd see. But
yeah, I mean, there's a candle that's, pardon the pun with the candle, but
well, it's the joke. It's yeah.
There's a candle to be held for Angela Lansbury, but nothing else comes close. But she was surprisingly wonderful. I agree.
Well, I call it the Joker phenomenon, where we have two people like Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger play excellent Jokers, but they're totally different. But they're both excellent.
Right.
Excellent. But I didn't think that Heath Ledger.
That's a very good comparison. That's a very, very good comparison.
Because they're two different.
Never put Jack Nicholson and Heath Ledger in the same room or category of an actor, really.
And they both portray the same character
entirely unique. Yeah. They both played the same psychopathic madman, and both were geniuses at it.
Yes.
And you're right. That's perfect.
And that's kind of how I put and that's really why it got on my list, because I was like, the movie overall, I'm still so on. But to break the mold, break the mold on that, it was respectable. It was a respectable performance, which is why it's on my.
That's a good point. And that's what I like about her is I feel like a lot of actors and actresses, I've heard stories before of how they say yes to a role and then they get the script or they get a rewrite or something, and then they're just like, what is this garbage? And then they have to, they muddle through and they get paid and they go to the next project. I don't think Emma Thompson's ever done that, and if she has, then she's fooled me.
And Karate Kid, the new one, the new remake,
Cobra Kai?
No. Jackie Chan refused to be called Mr. Miyagi because he said no one can be Mr. Miyagi. You need to rechange his name. That's why his name was Mr. Han or something.
They wanted to call him Mr. Miyagi?
At first, and Jackie Chan said, absolutely not. He said, I will never. He said, I can never be that actor. I can never be that good. Huh. So, I mean, that's why you shy away from those classic characters. But
Karate Kid trivia time. You ready?
Yeah, go.
What was Mr. Miyagi's final role? What was Pat Morita's final role as Mr. Miyagi?
I don't. Oh, final was next Karate Kid, right?
No.
What is it?
He did a music video, like cameo, for some it was like a punk indie rock band, and I can't think of their name right now.
Shut up.
And it was terrible video, but it was called At the Movies or just Movies or something was the song.
And so he played Mr. Miyagi?
Like it was Sum 41 or somebody like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he shows up
I know it was Alien Ant.
Alien Ant Farm.
Alien Ant Farm.
So he shows up.
I do remember this
jumps
now.
Into the movie
You're right.
screen, and my favorite moment ever
You're right.
is he says, I don't think I can go on, Mr. Miyagi. And he says, Daniel-san.
Yeah.
Shut up. And he pushes him down on the map.
Yeah. That's great. I forgot about that.
That was his, chronologically, his final role.
His final appearance.
His final appearance as Mr. Miyagi. So anyway.
Good, because Karate Kid 4 never happened.
Look, according to Cobra Kai, it didn't happen.
It never happened. Never happened.
So anyway.
All right, so what's number 4?
Number 4 for me is called Stranger Than Fiction.
There's our second one.
Really? There's 2 overlap. Okay. Stranger Than Fiction is one of my actually top 10 probably favorite movies all time. And
it's a good movie.
Not necessarily because of Emma in that, but just as a all combined role.
And the actual story is
The
very
story
interesting.
is brilliant. I love it so much.
It's very brilliant.
And it's a great story I haven't seen before.
And that Will Ferrell had to play
Yep.
someone other than Will Ferrell
Yep.
is
Exactly.
very impressive.
And he blew my mind in that.
And he had to, or it was going to look super silly.
It was.
You don't put Emma Thompson in that role and then put him against a clown.
But the fact that she did the narrating, and so much of her quote-unquote screen time is off-screen. But she lends so much to that character as the author, but she's almost like she's playing two different characters because the narrator acts differently than the author does. And she speaks differently than the author does. So in a way, she plays two parts. And I've always been fascinated by that because the attitude and even her cadence is different. And there's only one scene in the entire movie where she sits down and she's writing and you hear her thoughts in her head as she's typing. And her cadence and her rhythm and her voice is actually different from the entire rest of the movie that she's on screen. And I adore that character and that role that she plays. And like she and Will Ferrell both sell it. Like that movie could have just been dumb and forgotten.
Absolutely
forever.
Sell it. You're exactly right.
And it makes it so wonderful for me. I've rewatched that movie many, many times.
It's a movie where they both have to work in tangent. If one is off, the whole movie sucks.
Agreed.
And they did perfect. I don't know who thought Will Ferrell would be good for that role.
Either.
But he was. But I never in a million years would have cast him.
Same with Dustin Hoffman. He comes in the scenes with Will Ferrell and just nails it.
I know.
And it's mind-blowing.
It all worked. You're right. That is an excellent. It's my number 3. So we're not that far off.
All right, on.
We're not that far off with that.
All right. So number 4 would be then.
So my number 4 is an old one.
Okay.
And it's going to surprise a lot of people, and I may be the only person who's ever seen it. Well, if you like Emma Thompson, you've seen it before.
Perhaps.
And the thing is, we had a teacher back in the day who loved the movie and had us watch it, but we actually enjoyed it. We thought it was pretty good, solid acted. It is Henry V.
Henry V. That's not on my top 5, but I have seen Henry V.
Henry V. is a straight up play. I mean,
seen that.
Word for effing word.
Yeah,
and
I know.
And they have the set pieces, they have the thing, and I mean, and it's good. Everyone does a solid job.
That's one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. Period.
It's a great movie of the play, and of course the teacher's Shakespearean. And she wants us to watch it. But to be honest, it wasn't bad. And I hate Shakespeare usually. Yeah. But when I saw this, I was like, and they're all speaking the words of Shakespeare. The princess.
Okay.
I can't remember, but
whatever.
Yeah, but the thing is though, I remember everyone being solid in the movie, and I thought, you know what? Even though they're saying the lines, I'm digging this. Yeah. And that was something for me, and it still stuck with me. It's been years since I've seen it.
That's cool.
So, it may have been, but only because I didn't enjoy. I mean, I thought Beauty and the Beast was okay. I just thought her performance was good. That's why I put that as number 5. But I could easily switch these two.
Honestly, like, I could see that being in the number 4 spot, just because to make a straight Shakespeare movie interesting is a challenge. Oh my gosh. Like, how many movies have you seen that are straight Shakespeare?
That I don't fall asleep on. Exactly. None.
Like David Tennant as Hamlet is one that I could watch because of Tennant, and watching him be brilliant. And that's one of the very few that I can think of right off the top of my head. Patrick Stewart as in the Scottish play that you're not supposed to mention. Like that one is another one. I mean, we're not on the stage, so I guess I can say it now, but it doesn't. I don't want to.
Yeah, I gotcha.
It's COVID 2020. I'm not.
There you go.
Taking my
can't get any worse.
So, yeah, I can. So, okay, that's awesome. Henry V. I don't remember the movie very well, but that is one of my all-time favorite Shakespeare plays because I studied Shakespeare for a little while.
It's been a while for me, but I remember it being good. All right, so
that was number 3.
Your number 3, since my number 3 has been taken. Go for it.
My number 3 is Sense and Sensibility.
Okay, I knew this would be on your list.
Did you?
It is not on mine. But I knew you would like it.
Tell me why.
You've mentioned it before.
Have I?
Yes, you have.
What do you remember me mentioning about it before?
All I remember is you were equivalating some other movie, and I can't remember. And what you liked about Sense and Sensibility. That's basically it. It was a reference.
Okay.
But I was shocked that you liked it. And you said, yes, I like Sense and Sensibility. I'm not ashamed to say that. That's what you told me. Because I said, did you just equivocate this to Sense and Sensibility? Because I was like, I had to check my own man card because we were having a discussion about Sense and Sensibility. But go ahead. I can't mock because.
So here's one of the things that I love about Sense and Sensibility is it is an all-star top 10 cast. Like there is not anyone casting. So here's the cast. I just pulled it up. Emma Thompson, Kate Winslet, Hugh Grant, Alan Rickman, Greg Wise.
And there's no
Jenna
doubt there's a good
Jones,
people in there. Yeah.
these people are that you can't make a movie on a budget like with that, and
Right.
unless they all agree, like, oh no, I'm dating this person,
Agreed.
so I'm going to take half my normal pay scale or whatever. But you've got Oscar award winners galore in there, and then the late great Alan Rickman. Holy cow! And
He's great.
Genius. And so
Shoot, we should do one on Alec Rickman.
I agree. And but so one of the reasons I really enjoy that movie as well is because you've got these big heavy hitters that are all in the cast together, and I adore watching that movie because everyone brings it. And watching again, like we were talking about, the chemistry back and forth between them, because you can have a bunch of A-listers in a room and it just sucks, and it's stinkers. Real stinkers can happen.
Agreed.
But they all just bring it, and she is right up there with all the rest of them. Like, there's nothing about that movie aside from the fact that it drags a bit, but the story's well written and the screenplay is well written, and it highlights how suck ass things have been for women for so long, and I like that about the story too, is that it's just been like the whole plot is set up in 5 minutes, and I adore that. Like, boom, boom, boom. Like, and Emma Thompson actually has the line that says, "That's just the way it is. Like, you can't
change it." Yeah.
Money gets handed down from fathers to sons, not from fathers to daughters, and that's just the way it's been forever. And it's terrible. And then they're stuck in this awful situation, and the only hope that they have to get out is to get married. And then one girl wants to get married for love, and one girl wants to get married for practicality. And then Emma Thompson has to hold in that, and she has that beautiful moment at the end where she just breaks, and she's been holding it together for everybody. The whole freaking family's been on her shoulders till the end of the movie. And then finally she gets a chance to have love for a change and just totally loses it. And it's so heartbreaking and wonderful to watch at the same time.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome. All right. So what is number 2?
Love Actually.
I almost it's been forever. I remember virtually nothing about that movie.
Yeah.
I remember thinking it was okay, but I have zero memory.
Yep.
So I did not put it in my top 5.
I sincerely enjoy Love Actually as a movie. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies to watch, but specifically, though, if it's on, I will maybe, if I'm in a hotel room somewhere and traveling and I turn on the TV and it happens to be on, like, I will keep flipping because I've seen it, unless Emma Thompson is on, or I know one of her scenes is coming up, because she's the one in that movie that I am always amazed, performance-wise, how much power she gives to that character. Because if you just look at the writing, she could be written off and dismissed so easily. She's just the wife who got cheated on, or emotionally cheated on by Alan Rickman, speaking of. And her character could have been such a throwaway role. It could have all been about Alan Rickman and him, pursuing a younger woman.
Yeah.
But Emma, in the movie, she finds out about Alan Rickman, like, kind of flirting with this younger girl. And that's every older woman's, like, nightmare, right? Like, older, married, have 4 kids, whatever. You've been married and you don't have any romance in the relationship, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you find out your husband's cheated on you. You got a younger woman in the picture. How does she compete with that?
Right.
And the way she delivers all of that in her face and her performance, and tells that entire bit. None of that is in the dialogue.
Right.
None of that is in the script at all. But you see all of it happen. And when she's just, like, she wore a fat suit for it too, because they wanted her to be plump, and she was slim and trim and in perfect shape, and she ended up wearing a fat suit for all of her scenes, because that was supposed to be the point. This young, beautiful brunette who's seducing Alan Rickman, and she's just overweight.
Past her
she's
prime.
put on right. She's feeling like she's
over the hill
or something. She's got this sudden crisis to deal with her 2 young kids in school and everything, and so, but to see her heart break in those moments is fantastic to me. I could never dream of doing something and portraying it that well on camera. It's amazing.
This is interesting.
Why?
Because my number 2.
Yes.
I thought Sense and Sensibility or Love Actually is going to be your number 1. So I don't know what your number 1 is.
Oh.
I know what my number 2 is, and you know what my number 1 is.
Yes.
I don't know if this is it. I don't think it would be, but I didn't hear it on your list. And maybe you don't care for it at all.
Maybe I don't.
Well, I would say newer, but it is kind of older when you think about it. I like her performance in Harry Potter.
Really? Didn't make
Mooney,
my top 5. For her,
she really did a good job.
Tell me why.
Have you? I've read the book. I've read the book. Okay. And now I think of Emma Thompson when I reread.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Instead of
her character,
Trelawney, I
picture Emma Thompson now. She changed the book character. That's hard to do.
You know what? You're right.
It's hard to change a book character. Once I know of a book character, I mean, there's a few people who have done it for me. Changed the book character for me. But when I have a book character in mind, it's your hard fault in changing who that book character is to me.
That's a very good point. Can you think of anyone else who's changed a book character for you?
Not off the top of my head. Yeah. I was trying to think of an analogy, but it's happened before a few times. But I remember for her, it happened. And to be honest, is that it? Is that the only one? Maybe so. I don't know.
So no one else in the Harry Potter universe changed when you saw them?
I mean, maybe Hagrid. Hagrid's Hagrid, maybe.
Yeah, okay.
But I think they got a good Hagrid from the book to play the movie too.
Oh God, yeah.
But Mooney, you can read Mooney differently. Not Mooney. Trelawney, excuse me. Yes, Trelawney. You can read her differently than you can picture her.
Mooney's Lupin, I think.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Did you read Harry Potter before you saw it in the movies, or did you do it together?
Yes. No, I read it first.
I read all of them?
Yes.
You never saw a single Harry Potter movie before you read the books?
No, I was reading the books before the movies came out.
Holy crap. Well, I mean,
I was part of that wave.
But you read them all before.
And then watched the movie.
Right. But you didn't read all of them and then went to watch the very first movie.
I don't know. Did the last book come out and then the first movie come out later?
Yeah, the books preceded the
movies.
I
read the books first.
So did I.
After they finished, I bought them all and read them all.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, we can talk about Harry Potter another time.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
That could be a whole other.
That could be, but that's
Harry Potter top 5.
That's true.
Could totally do that.
But that was because it's hard to change a book character for me. No one in Lord of the Rings did it. No one in Lord of the Rings did it for me.
That's a wonderful, epic movie, but you're right.
I have my book characters.
They're stuck in your head.
And they're not changing.
Like, they'd be like trying to change, like, Jade Solo.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other examples here. No one in Dune. Of course, Dune hadn't had that many movies come out. No one in Narnia Chronicles changed it for me. I'm trying to think of some other books, but no Sherlock Holmes. There's no man who plays Sherlock Holmes like the man in my head.
That's a good point.
But Trelawney, yeah, she did it.
That is
she did it. All right. So anyway, what's your number one? I'm interested because I have no idea. I really did think it was gonna be Love Actually or Sense and Sensibility.
Mine is a bit campy with my number one, but it's my favorite one to go back to, which is Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh dang it! I didn't think about that.
That's the other Shakespeare one that.
Gotcha.
I thoroughly enjoy because of that. But it's Kenneth Branagh at his best though, and it's him being ridiculous. I'm pretty sure he directed that. Mm-hmm. And she gets to have that wonderful, wonderful moment that a lot of girls would, a lot of actresses I know rather, who dream about Shakespeare roles or any role. She gets to scream about, if I were a man, I would eat his heart in the marketplace, but I can't do that because I'm a woman. And it's a wonderful, wonderful speech, and I should memorize it, but it's one of my favorite things to see, and she nails it, in my opinion. And it's just such a good moment. But then the rest of the movie is just campy and cheesy as hell, and Denzel Washington struts around the whole time, and it's fantastic. And Michael Keaton is a genius. Yeah,
he is. He's great.
And that's probably one of my all-time favorite Shakespearean comedic characters is Dogberry, and Keaton nails that.
Of course he does.
But her as Beatrice in Much Ado that's my favorite Beatrice. I've seen a lot of versions of Much Ado About Nothing because that's also one of my favorite Shakespeare plays. But she's the only one. Like, she is the candle that everybody else has to try to hold up to. Like, she's the book version for me in that. Like, there is nothing else that even comes close to nailing that performance the way she did.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you have it.
Wow, there we have it.
A top 5 with a girl. Who'd have thought?
Let's not be so shocked.
I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. Folks, I haven't been avoiding actresses. I just realized while we were talking a long time.
Right.
And so I said, well, here's who we covered. And then I thought, you know what? I've never done a single actress. Not on purpose.
Next week, Elizabeth Shue and Cindy Crawford.
Karate Kid 1. Karate Kid 1. Karate Kid 1. Karate Kid 1. Karate Kid 1.
Cobra
No,
Kai season
Adventures
3.
in Babysitting. Number 5.
I just rewatched Cobra Kai, and that teaser of her the entire season is just killing me.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
She gotta be there for season 3.
All right. Hey, let's do this again.
I would love to.
All right, folks.
My pleasure.
We'll see you next time on Saturday.
Samoflange.
Yeah!